You were more likely to be poor if you were a woman. You were more likely to go hungry and to be kept out of school. You'll earn less and own less too. Women work 2/3 of the world's working hours, produce half of the world's food, but earn only 10% of the world's income and own 1% of the property. Imagine what would happen if we turned these inequalities on their head. If we ensured women's fundamental human rights were realised and gave women the chance to compete on the same level as men. Imagine the benefits we would reap if more girls went to school, gave birth in healthy environments, and had the resources and skills to grow more on their farms. Imagine the number of people who could lift themselves out of poverty, the children and families who could enjoy better lives, if women had a voice in decisions that affect them. We know when investment is directed into the hands of women, the whole community prospers. We know when women farmers have the same access to land, tools, seeds, credit and training as men, yields increase by up to 30%, feeding more people. Together with local partners, Oxfam works in 92 countries to deal with the causes and reality of poverty and injustice. We recognise that ending poverty starts with women. Oxfam Ireland Ambassador Sharon Kaur went to Tanzania to see how these women and their communities' lives have changed.
We're doing a lot of work on the ground that's about improving women's rights, trying to do work on ending violence against women, trying to look at women's land rights and trying to draw more attention to women's needs. So having somebody like Sharon seeing and understanding what it is that we're trying to do means that she's able to speak in different forms and people will listen to her that might not listen to me, and that she can actually influence a lot of people to understand what the issues are and to see why this is important.
When we support women food producers, they stand a better chance of fighting poverty. That's why we created an innovative competition called Female Food Heroes in Tanzania, to bring the voice of female farmers to the nation. More than 6,000 women farmers applied, and their stories were heard by more than 25 million people across Tanzania through a televised show. A panel of judges and a public vote decided the winner.
A couple of months ago, somebody was saying, what are you most proud of that we've done in the last year? And I said, the female food hero. I think last year we thought it was a good idea, but we weren't really expecting the level of response. We were expecting maybe a couple of 500 applications, and we got 7,000. So that's saying something about hitting a nerve or hitting something that resonates with people. It's very modern and it's looking forward, and it's not seeing rural women as backward or, old-fashioned.
Esther Jerome won a tractor and a grain store, which she is using to boost her income and that of her community.
Kupata pawatila nikaongeza eneo la kulima, kwa mwaka huu nimelima eka 25, kwa hiyo kipato kimeongezeka cha mazao. Unavyoona hivi hapa wameweza kuja mpaka viongozi wa serikali. Kwa hiyo na wenyewe wametambua umuhimu wa kumilikisha ardhi huku vijijini, kwa sababu swala hilo huku lilikuwa halipo kabisa.
Millions of women farmers and producers are unrecognised, unsupported and unheard. But if women farmers had the same access to land, tools and credit as men, they could grow enough food to feed an extra 100 million of the world's hungriest people. There is no better way of lifting families out of poverty than empowering women.
There's a lot of small organisations working in Morogoro that are trying to defend people's land rights, but they're working in isolation. So we're supporting the Land Alliance to bring them together so that they can say, okay, we've got 3 or 4 similar cases here. Can we actually do something collectively on them rather than just keeping them isolated?
Hili shamba ni la babangu, lakini bahati mbaya amefariki mwaka 86, akaniachia mimi kama ndio mkubwa. Unaona? Hasa katika mgogoro magereza wakawa wamelivamia ili eneo, tukagombana hivyo kwa kutafuta sheria. Bahati nzuri wakaja watu wa opata, tukaanza kupima ardhi. Kupima ardhi kaonekana kwamba magereza wamo ndani ya mashamba ya wananchi. Labda baada ya kurudishiwa ili eneo au ardhi yangu, naona kipato kimeongezeka. Kwa sababu nilikuwa nalima nusu eka, sasa hivi nimetanua ili eneo. Kwa hiyo kile kipato cha kwanza na sasa hivi ni tofauti, kimeongezeka. Mabadiliko yapo. Kwanza tulikuwa tuelewi kama kumiliki ardhi mwanamke naye anahusika. Hilo moja tulikuwa tuelewi. Kwa sasa hivi baada tulivyopata mafunzo ndio tunaelewa kwamba mwanamke ana haki ya kumiliki ardhi.
The work that the Moragora Land Alliance is doing, one of the things that they've agreed and we've agreed with them is that they're going to actually take a number of cases and they're going to work through those and follow them through fully. And then that'll build up, in a sense, examples that can be used by other communities when their land rights are violated. So we've very clear kind of plans with the partner organisation about what they're going to deliver and how that's going to be used.
Women are more likely to die from violence by men than from cancer, malaria, traffic accidents and war combined. 1 in every 3 women has been beaten, coerced into sex or otherwise abused in her lifetime. This abuse can lock them into poverty. It's a violation of human rights and is preventing societies from prospering. By supporting women to protect themselves from violence and helping communities to understand that it's not right, we stand a better chance of fighting poverty. That's why we're supporting the We Can campaign, which asks people to change their behaviours and attitudes. To date, the campaign has been able to mobilise more than 350,000 change makers in Tanzania, people who pledge to change violent behaviour and speak out against domestic violence.
Tanzania has actually got some good policies and legislation around preventing violence against women, but there's still a lot of traditional attitudes that feel that women should be seen and not heard, that a woman is very much like the property of her husband, and that it's okay and acceptable for men to use violence against their wives or their children.
We met a woman called Emilia. Emilia was married again, very young. Her husband was a drunk and he beat her, he sexually abused her, he beat the children. She was helped very much by Moragora Paralegal Centre, funded by Oxfam, and slowly but surely she actually managed to convince her husband that it was wrong, and she now has incredibly a really good relationship with him. I then met Emiliani. He told us how he was a terrible drunk and that he used to beat his wife.
Mwaka wa 2008 pale Morogoro Paralegal nikahamasishwa na mama mmoja pale anaitwa Mama Mdundu. Sasa ile fomu nikawa nimeiangalia.
What we're really trying to do, I think, is get people to see that you won't end violence against women unless everybody changes their attitude. And that change of attitude is very personal. Women have to change their attitudes, men have to change their attitudes. And it's trying to find ways of doing that positively. So it's looking at the idea that we can change and that change is good and that there are benefits from changing. And also that it takes a whole community to end violence against women, because what you hear going on in your neighbour's house, and if you're saying nothing and ignoring it, if we condone violence when we say nothing. And women want to have their voice heard and they want to be acknowledged. And I think this is where putting women at the heart of ending poverty, it has to start with women, because unless it does, families remain poor, inequality persists, and you can never really have development in that situation.
No other policy is as likely to raise incomes and reduce infant mortality as giving equal opportunities to all. No other policy is as likely to stop women dying in childbirth and improving the health and nutrition of families. No other policy ensures children go to school and when they do, have adequate food in their bellies and clothes on their back to sit through their day's lessons. Oxfam is working with women to help them unlock their potential. It's their right. It also offers the best way out of poverty for everyone.